I'm Marny Nesher, publisher of the Central New York Business Journal, and welcome everyone to our latest CNY Business Journal interview series focusing on WISE success stories. And WISE stands for Women Igniting the Spirit of Entrepreneurship, otherwise known as the WISE Women's Business Center located in Syracuse. So before we begin, if everyone can please continue to stay up to date by viewing our website daily at CNYBJ.com regarding the news and information for Central New York businesses. Now I'd like to welcome Bryony Grealish, owner of the Fingerless Kitchen. Thank you for joining me. So if you can share with us, please, what is the Fingerless Kitchen?
Yes, the Fingerless Kitchen is a place where people with disabilities can come to be inspired, to learn how to cook, and to hopefully help them find the courage to develop independence and get out there into the community. The Fingerless Kitchen is also a place where people without disabilities to come to see what it's all about, to connect with me and come see if they want me to come speak with them about what it is to have a disability, what does disability in the workplace look like, and how they can help foster that.
All right, so can you share with us why you started this business?
Yes, so actually, I started this business as a catering company. And it was the idea to have a catering company with a little bit of inspiration on the side. I started it back in 2016. And the catering company part did not work out. It didn't go as I wanted to, but I realized soon that it was my stepping off point. That, just because I didn't find the right business for me didn't mean that I couldn't have a business. And so in 2018, I decided to focus more on that inspirational part and to really focus on people with disabilities, which is my disability community, and really gaining their support and their help. Because what I found was with cooking and in social media and in cooking shows, there wasn't any people with disabilities. Disabilities wasn't being represented, and it wasn't anywhere. You can talk about kids cooking in the kitchen, every health fad in the kitchen, but you're missing a huge part of the population who needs to learn these skills as well. So I saw a real need in my community. And so that's what I'm working on.
So tell me a little bit about your background then, that you said you started off as a chef. Did you go to school or how did you begin?
So, well, I can say I started cooking when I was 8 years old. And one of 10 kids, my father was in a wheelchair. And so he cooked for all 10 kids. And so I learned from my father how to cook. And I went to SU, so I'm a graduate, SU alumni, and I went to school for hospitality management. So the idea was I was going to own a bakery, I was going to have my own restaurant. That's kind of where my passion was. And along the way, I realized that it was really important for me to be helping the people in my community. So as much as I wanted a restaurant, my parents always taught me that when you're in this world, you help others in need. And then someday you may need that help as well. So we kind of, it's that balance. You help, and then sometimes you'll need the help. So I switched to social work. And I graduated from SU in social work and went on to work 11 years on the west side of Syracuse here.
Wow, you have a very interesting background. It's funny how we have, well, it's funny that we start off sometimes with a plan A when we're in college and then it kind of shifts and we head in a completely different direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's amazing. So can you talk a little bit more about your target audience as to who you would like to reach with the Fingerless Kitchen and who you are currently reaching? Because you have two different audiences is what you're sharing with me.
Yes, I do. And so I think that makes it difficult when you have a couple different audiences, but there's a reason for that. One is I'm trying to reach out to people with disabilities and get connected with them and get them seeing what I'm doing through videos and social media. And what I hope to do is go speak to more people with disabilities when we're back to normal. And so disabilities is my main focus. And anybody with a disability, because anybody with a disability is going to come up against troubles and difficulties and discrimination and need advocacy. And so it's it's a whole population of people, a whole world of people that I'm trying to reach. And then there's the other part, because you can't have change, like real sustainable change, if you're only targeting the people who just need the support, because we have to change a mindset, right? You have to be able to bring in people who are not disabled to understanding and learning about what disability means, making disability more normal in everyday life. Because right now, a lot of people with disabilities are shut out. I always feel like people with disabilities are left in the corner, kind of the forgotten, that we don't think about that. It's tough because having a disability, people often think you are strange, you're not safe. There's a whole lot of stigma around disability, and people don't believe in your abilities because you're disabled instead of differently abled. So my other population of people that I'm trying to reach are people without disabilities. And through speaking events and through my cooking show, the No Thumbs Chef Challenge, I'm really trying to show people that their limitations are opportunities to do something different and amazing on both ends, and also give experience about disability. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And so working with a regular, like a typical person, means going into offices and programs, speaking to them about and doing this experiential workshop where what I like to say is experience makes change, right? What you see is you have someone famous. Let's take an example. You have someone famous and their family member has Parkinson's. Well, all of a sudden that becomes the most important thing in that person's life. And they start setting up foundations, raising money for awareness and for research. And it becomes a part of their purpose and their understanding in life, because now they've had this experience that was meaningful. And I think that's how we're going to create more change for people with disabilities, is through experience and a different perception of understanding of oneself and one's abilities. And so I'm doing speaking to be able to reach people without disabilities to show them that. And hopefully, yeah.
Is it just speaking, or are you actually doing the demonstrations and getting people? I watched some of the videos with the actual cooking demonstrations where you bind their hands, and those are with other chefs, right?
Mhm.
So when you go in and talk with businesses and with employees, what are you demonstrating, or are you really, it's conversation, or?
It's both. I'm actually having the conversations, but I'm also putting them in that position, because they won't understand until they're out of their comfort zone and put into a place where they're not sure how they're going to do it. Because I mean, really, every day, if you have all your fingers, can you imagine only having two to do everything that you need to do out of the day? It's really hard for people to imagine, and people,
Sure.
they get upset if even the thought of having to lose their fingers. It's pretty
Right.
traumatic for some people. But I like to tape up whoever is willing to actually get taped up and give it a try. And a lot of people in the beginning don't think they're going to be able to do it. They can't see it. They're confused. They're nervous to even try it. And then in the end, they figure it out. And it doesn't take long to adapt and adjust. And that's what I want to show people, is that you can take somebody's fingers away and they can still figure out within a few minutes on how to pivot their perception and their awareness of their body and what they need to do. And so really, I'm trying to show them that there's opportunity, even though we took away something from them. Because I really believe, yeah, I believe people with disabilities are really great problem solvers, because that's what we have to do every single day. Every challenge we come up against is another challenge to figure out a creative way around it that works for us.
So what would be your biggest challenge right now in your business?
Well, COVID. That was really that's really, there's a lot of role shift that had to happen. I had a lot of speaking engagements booked for last year, and of course COVID hit and it all kind of fizzled out as people are trying to figure out life. Um, but yeah, I think really right now it's this last year that has been really tough because I couldn't do as many, had to stop doing all the videos and going to meet with people. And my kids have been home 24/7 for the last year.
That's a challenge.
Hmm.
Challenge. So how would you define success? At what point do you feel like your business is successful? I asked this question of somebody else, is it as well? And everybody's response is going to be different. Is it financial? Is it growth in terms of the number of employees? Is it how would you define it? Is it just something personal? Is it?
I think I think it's all of those. I like to look at small steps as successes first, and the fact that I'm here talking to you is a success. The ability for me to leave a job I was uncomfortable with, not without a plan, and starting my own business, that's a success. All the people I've met and the new relationships, all the networking, the places I've spoken, those are successes. And some days it's just a success on how I've figured out how to do something on my Wix website. That's a success. But really, where I would like to see the biggest success is the growth of this into a bigger business and being able to reach more people with disabilities, turn this into a full cooking show, and really showcase different disabilities, how they're doing it in the kitchen, tools, techniques, inspirational stories, and really get out there and show more people what disability has to offer instead of what disability can't do.
So how did you become involved with WISE? How did you reach out to them and how did you hear about them?
I heard about them, being an SU alum, I never knew about WISE, and I lived in Syracuse, still didn't know about WISE. A friend, it's another parent from my son's school. I just happened to be talking about my specialty catering company that I had an idea for, and she goes, "You know what? You should check out the WISE Center." And I was like, "What is this?" And she just gave me a brief description. She goes, "Okay, just go online. Here's where to find them. Check it out and see if they can help." And at that point, I had an idea, didn't know where to go, what to do. Like I was lost and scared, and I just went for it. I dove in. I just filled out their quick online form, took a deep breath, and got myself a business coach and dove right in.
Is that before you started your business?
Yes.
You used their services?
I started with Wise before I even got my LLC. It was really in the idea phase is when I got started.
And what other resources have you been able to utilize there? Is it just the mentorship? Do they have specific programs, classes?
All of it. I went for any event, any networking that I could do, workshops, the coaching. I just anything that they offered, I tried my best to get to whatever I could. Just kind of the full jump in immersion because I needed a new community of people since I was leaving social work behind and kind of that whole life I knew. And it's been the best thing that I think I've ever done is really starting up with Wise, getting a mentor, meeting all these new people, the workshops, the events, the networking, I just went for it all.
So if someone would like to connect with you about the Fingerless Kitchen, either a business or someone that wants to kind of pick your brain or just talk with you because maybe they have their own children with a disability or anything, how can they reach out to you? What would be the best way?
So the best way they can reach me is through email. I mean, that's always the best. And I have a few people that I'm talking to from across the world who just connect with me about their children with disabilities and how I'm doing it and how they can support their kids. So that's another part of what I've been doing. So my email, Bryony Grealish at thefingerlesskitchen.com. If they want to know more about my business, heading on over to my website, thefingerlesskitchen.com, or Instagram, Facebook. They can kind of see what I've been doing and just get an overall sense. And I love questions. So please, please bring me your questions, even if it's just you want to know a little bit more, and I'll be happy to talk to you.
Well, it's been a pleasure to speak with you today. Thank you so much for your time. We'll make sure that we put your contact information on below of your website for people to be able to get in touch, and probably your email as well.
Okay.
I want to thank you again for spending time with me, and thank you to everybody else for joining us. And I certainly look forward to seeing you next time as we continue to meet more women entrepreneurs from WISE. Thank you.